to start with my favorite pocket statue, Drew Bledsoe.
Drew Bledsoe, uh, get some pressure on him. He wasn't going to move. He was going to be in the pocket. He wasn't that mobile. Get the pressure in the A and B gaps, and you could send five or even six at him, but you wanted to get the ball out of his hands. The longer he had to throw, the more accurate, the more deadly he could be. That was our game plan, and it was to rattle his cage and get after him.
He's an interesting guy to me because he came along obviously in the 90s, but I think kind of his game was, almost like a little more reminiscent of the 80s with guys like Lynn Dickey and, the guys with the big arms who just could not move.
That's what he was. And even ironically, his coach was Bill Parcells, but Parcells was letting him air it out.
Hmm.
He was a big gun kid from Washington State, and he was a number one pick in the '94 draft. And they let him air it out, and he had a decent and a good career.
Hmm.
But he got replaced, by the greatest quarterback that's ever played this game, and I don't even think that's up for debate anymore.
At some point I kind of want to debate that with you, but we'll save that for another day.
Yeah,
Just because I think to make my argument very short and not taking anything away from Brady, but I just look at kind of the era in which he played, and I compare him to Joe Montana, and I just think objectively it was much harder to play
I
quarterback.
see that argument, and I have that myself. I have that myself. I played against some of the greatest quarterbacks, but what Tom Brady did, whether it was a system or whatever, he has
Mhm.
seven of them. But does winning the championship automatically make you the greatest? I don't know about that.
You
Robert
know,
Horry has what, seven NBA championships, but we don't talk about him as an all-time great.
right? I mean, how many does Charles Haley have? And nothing, not taking anything away from
Charles
Charles
Haley
Haley,
has five.
but was
Sam
he
Jones,
was he better than Reggie White? Probably not.
of course not. Of
Yeah,
course not. But you take a guy like Sam Jones, he has 10 championships. Nobody mentions him.
right, for sure.
Those Celtics, and KC Jones has
Tommy
about nine.
Heinsohn, yeah,
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 it's a team sport.
for sure. Jim Kelly.
uh, Tough, very very tough. We wanted to stop the run first, and then go after him. But Jim had escapability too. Jim was just tough. Our game plan was to slow down because they were running plays every 24 seconds. They were first to go no huddle, open it up, and call it at the line, run pass option, depending on your defense. And Jim is just tough.
Guy I want to ask you about next. I personally think if you gave him a fair career, I think he's a top five quarterback of all time. But Warren Moon,
I love Warren. I absolutely love Warren. He was a tough quarterback. I don't think he got enough credit, but he could sling that rock, man. And they left Warren unprotected. At least with the K-pop that the Buffalo Bills were running, they at least kept the tight end in. The Oilers just coming out with one back, five wides, and they left Warren. And at least we used to get at him, and teams used to get after Warren. And he took some hits, and he took some hits, and he got up. But they didn't protect him very well, not
he,
at all.
I mean, everyone knows this, but obviously he was a 28-year-old rookie after however many years playing in the CFL. He threw 291 touchdown passes when that was really hard to do, and he didn't get started until he was 28 years old.
You know what? That shows that he had longevity. And if Warren would have came in as a 21-year-old, imagine what the records would be. And I think he might even had a Super Bowl. But he had to go up to Canada and prove himself. But he is a forefather of what we're seeing today with the black quarterbacks, being mobile and being able to throw that rock and command and run an offense.
Dan Marino.
Tough as nails, Western PA kid, fastest gun in the West, very hard to get to. They protected him. Even when you got to him, the ball was gone. Hell of a competitor. Get in your face, get in his teammates' face. Uh, and he is the best quarterback that I probably played against. He's beat us in last second games. He's beat us in the famous fake spike game.
Right? Yeah.
But Danny had a hell of an arm, and I just wish that he would have got a Super Bowl win, but that doesn't take away with the guys that played against him how great he was.